I was online a couple years ago at like around 1 a.m. looking up old SpongeBob episodes as I was a huge fan as a kid and the new episodes they show on TV are complete shit. So, after going through bad quality videos on foreign websites and other sites flooded with ads, I came upon an unofficial website that had full episodes and ad-free. Okay, the quality wasn't great, but better than most of the websites. On the bottom was a link that said, SpongeBob Lost Episode, being a complete doofus. I clicked on it. When I clicked on it, I thought it was probably a screamer or something, but I clicked on it anyway. I was bored enough to click on the video and watch it. I totally forgot about looking for old episodes. The episode video had poor quality and the episode itself was pretty much forgotten by the writers. Like every episode, it started with the theme song. The title card read, Patrick's Leg, with the normal fun-filled bubble letters we all know and love. The first thing that didn't seem right was that after the title card, the transition, instead of bubbles, it was just a blur into the beginning of the episode. It started out as a harmless SpongeBob episode, with SpongeBob and Patrick watching the sunset, but then Patrick decides to go sandboarding. So they do. So far, a pretty normal episode. Patrick then tries to do some sort of trick on his sandboard but fails. As a result, Patrick falls and breaks his leg, and SpongeBob goes after him to see if he's okay. During this scene, instead of the usual, Hawaiian-themed music, more suspenseful, serious music plays. Also, Patrick screams a more painful scream than he usually would. Enough that I could feel it. Well, I guess that makes sense. He just broke his leg. Nothing that is too far out of the ordinary, right? Well, other than the opening and the music in that one scene, it's going pretty much like any ordinary episode. The next scene takes place at the hospital, where the doctor tells Patrick he needs to be in a wheelchair for a little while. As they walk out, SpongeBob is pushing Patrick in his wheelchair when they run into some girls. The girls start talking to Patrick because of his leg and ask if they can sign his cast as they walk away with Patrick, leaving SpongeBob by himself. So far, it's going like a normal episode. I don't remember what happened throughout the episode, so I'll skip some scenes. This is where it gets creepy. Later that night, SpongeBob knocks at Patrick's door. In this scene, the backgrounds look more realistic than usual. However, I tried to ignore it. When Patrick opens the door, SpongeBob tells Patrick
that he forbids him to see those girls ever
again. Patrick gets furious, not as he does normally. This is a fit of more realistic anger, and he tells SpongeBob
that he hates him.
The girls leave in fear. This is when I started to feel funny about this episode. SpongeBob then screams, in an unusually deep voice, something like,
"Oh yeah? Well, as long as you hate me, I can do this,"
and then starts beating Patrick's broken leg violently with a rock. After that, the screen goes to static for a fraction of a second and cuts to a scene where SpongeBob and Patrick are apologizing for something during the daytime. Except the lining of the animation and the voices don't match up. The animation in this scene is very poor, as if it was a loop. And it goes on for a good 4 or 5 minutes. I was very creeped out, but I wanted to see how it ended. The screen goes black for a minute or two, and then cuts to a scene from another episode, where Patrick has Jeffrey Jellyfish in a wagon and says, "Come on, Jeffrey," and the screen goes black again. This time for only about 30 seconds and cuts to a CG animation of Patrick cutting SpongeBob's stomach open with a piece of broken coral with realistic blood gushing out while looking at the screen with bloodshot dilated eyes. Meggy then screaming and vomited. His mouth doesn't move, but you can faintly hear him say,
"I knew this day would come,"
with an echoey voice. You can also hear SpongeBob laughing for some reason. The scene goes on for another 3 minutes, but nothing is heard but static, which gets louder and louder until it's unbearably loud. Then the normal credits come on, but with a very faint image of the last scene still showing.
My God, that image will be burned in my mind forever.
The United Plankton logo isn't shown as usual. After the video was over, it froze, so I had to reload the page. But it wasn't available. I couldn't even find the website anymore. Even when I looked up Patrick's leg, nothing came up. I understand if you don't believe me, but I know what I saw, even if it was at 1 o'clock in the morning. What the hell was I even doing online at that time? Well, I had to get rid of that computer I watched the episode on. Even after a complete reformatting, it never worked correctly. The episode file could never be deleted from it, and it kept opening on its own. I wiped the hard drive clean several times and the episode wouldn't go away. The sound control didn't work, and it was a laptop. But the power never seemed to run out and I couldn't get it to turn off. I was going to keep the computer just so I'd have a copy of the lost episode, but looking at it was making me nervous. I had a recurring nightmare several nights in a row. Meggie, wake up, SMG4 said. The episode was playing, but instead of the photo-realistic SpongeBob corpse, it was me at 10 years old. I found a picture of myself at 10 and the nightmare was closer to it than my own memory had been. My friend Psycho, Mario, Boopkins, Axel, Tari, and SMG4. I swear, that picture of myself at 10, dead, started flashing on the computer screen so quickly that I could never be sure. After that, I destroyed the computer, determined to get to the bottom of this. I kept searching online. I found someone who said they had a Blu-ray DVD of it they would sell to me. I was nervous but determined to find out the truth about this and end the matter. I bought the tape as well as a really old and cheap Blu-ray player since I had a feeling neither would be the same after I watched the episode. The episode was pretty much the same as the file I downloaded. I don't want to say any more. This wasn't worth it, and I'd give anything to go back to how I felt when I had the computer with the file scaring me. I destroyed the tape, but it didn't help. Don't watch lost episode Patrick's leg. Quote, Tari said. The commercials on the tape. I don't want to remember them. There were monsters from my dreams I had never told anyone about. News promos about tragedies that hadn't happened yet. Surreal computer-generated animation that wouldn't have been possible in the 80s, or now for that matter. A former friend watched it with me, but he saw completely different things. With one exception, there was a seemingly live news report from June 18, 2014. It said that people were found cut open in their sleep. I'm sure you can figure out what cut open could have been by. I wanted to know more about the episode than there has to be. I found the episode on my computer, then it disappeared from my laptop forever. The nightmares stopped. I didn't want to go into Patrick's leg anymore, just thinking about made me sick. But still, I wonder what actually happened. Then one day I saw my friend searching up Patrick's leg. I yelled at her and told her never to do that ever again. I've known her since forever. She was my best friend. I went to her house because it was her birthday. I walked in 'cause I had a key. I looked everywhere for her. When I was getting ready to leave, I saw her TV playing Patrick's leg. It freaked me out. The police never really investigated. I brought it up so much to the police. I became a regular. I don't know how to move on from this.